In The Summer I Turned Pretty, narration isn't just a storytelling device. It's Belly's diary. It's her inner world laid bare. But in Season 3, something's changed. While Seasons 1 and 2 are filled with voiceovers that guide us through her desires, heartbreaks, and doubts, in Season 3, her narration, once constant, is quieter, more infrequent. And when it does appear, it feels different, more firm, certain, maybe even too certain. This video explores what the shift in Belly's narration tells us about her character. I'll break down how her voice has evolved from Season 1 through the beginning of Season 3, from a self-questioning girl to a young woman who seems very determined to convince herself she's got everything figured out. I'll also be predicting what the lack of narration in Season 3 so far may mean for her character as she evolves through the rest of this final season. So Season 1 sets the tone. Nearly every episode begins and ends with Belly's narration. It frames each chapter like a diary entry, full of dreams, confusion, and discovery. Belly observes a lot, trying to understand herself and the world around her.
Boys at school never look at me. Taylor's the one they look at. I guess you could say I'm just kind of there. Things change, whether you want them to or not, so maybe I'll change too.
Her narration is curious and vulnerable, figuring out her place in the world and who she'll be next as she comes of age. Most significantly, Belly wonders about her love life, and about Conrad most of all.
What if now I have the power to make my wish come true? Is Conrad still my wish?
Her voice explores rather than asserts. Her voice is full of questions about love, identity, and possibility. She questions here if Conrad is still her wish. Similarly, earlier in the season, she wonders where her meet cute with Cam may lead to.
This could be my summer wish. This night, this boy.
The narration in the early season is full of movement, of someone still exploring and becoming. But there's a turning point after her kiss with Jeremiah at the end of episode 5. In the following episode, her voice fades. She doesn't open the next episode with a strong narration, and when it returns near the end, it lacks the depth and introspection we're used to. She doesn't explore how she feels about him. She simply says,
I was always so scared for when this moment would come. But weirdly, I'm totally fine, because it's Jeremiah.
There's no reflecting, no questioning of her feelings here. Instead, we see a passive acceptance or avoidance. She doesn't wonder about the future or whether Jeremiah is right for her, like she does with Conrad.
Is this what it would be like if we were older? Me and Conrad together?
So with Jeremiah, we see an emotional wall going up in Belly's inner narrative, a pause in introspection, and this is marked by the lack of narration in the later episodes. But by the finale, after her dance with Conrad at the Deb ball and the devastating news about Susanna's cancer, her narration returns, full of emotion, uncertainty, and hope for the future.
There were times this summer when I felt like I didn't know my own heart. But one thing I do know for sure, I will always come back to this place and these people. In this moment, I realized, if this can happen, maybe anything can.
We see her facing the vastness of her emotions at the end of Season 1, which are no longer suppressed behind a wall. She's wondering and hoping again. And this isn't following with the ethos of The Summer I Turned Pretty. It is a coming-of-age story, so Belly, through her narration and her inner world, is meant to be finding herself, still stumbling and growing. Season 2 opens with Belly experiencing profound heartbreak and grief. She stepped into a new reality, and this season's narration sees Belly in the midst of navigating it.
I knew I'd lose Susanna eventually. I just didn't know I'd end up losing all of them.
She grapples with her new life, but she retains her sense of agency and exploration from Season 1.
I'll never get Susanna back, but I can't let Jeremiah and Conrad go too.
We can see she is uncertain, questioning, but still eager to make sense of her new life. She wants to make sure she doesn't lose the bond she has with the Fisher boys. As the season wears on, though, her narration becomes less frequent and more spaced out, more so than we saw in Season 1. Particularly Episode 4 sees the narration more spaced out as her feelings for Jeremiah grow. Here, Belly speaks about Jeremiah again in fixed terms.
Jeremiah is always there when I need him.
Her tone is again no longer reflective. Her narration shifts from her complex thoughts to statements. In episode 5, we even get narration from Jeremiah instead, a break from Belly entirely. And by the time we return for the last few episodes, her voiceovers are minimal. She no longer frames the episodes with her thoughts at the beginning and end. The narration only returns after emotionally climactic moments like in episode 6.
Everything is wrong. I promised Susanna I wouldn't lose the magic, but it's gone.
She doesn't say much after the tense scene with Conrad and Jeremiah here. In this episode, her attraction to Jeremiah is growing while she still harbors conflicting emotions about Conrad, and her narrative tone marks this shift with the switch to statements here. Belly doesn't think about next steps or solutions because she's in acceptance mode here, not introspection. This is indicative of who Belly is when she's with Jeremiah versus Conrad. But the finale still leaves us with one final note of reflection.
The future is unclear, but it's still mine.
She's entered into a new relationship with Jeremiah at the end, but she's still unresolved and searching, still finding her voice. This is a promising end to the season. Then we have season 3, which opens with a tone of resolution in Belly's narration. She sounds more confident and sure of herself, but as we will see, this doesn't last long. When she talks about Jeremiah in the opening sequence, it's again in those absolute and fixed terms.
More and more I understand. This is the way it's supposed to be. He's the one. My one.
If we compare this to the language she uses when she speaks about Conrad, she often remarked on how it felt like, what if, maybe. There was always room for exploration and growth of her feelings, but with Jeremiah, it's all decided. It's as if she's narrating a story that's happening to her rather than through her. Being it that 4 years have passed, we can expect Belly to be a little bit more self-assured. However, after the opening sequence in episode 1, the narration slowly fades. In season 3, we have yet to see Belly begin and conclude an episode through narration, framing her story. There is no reflections on her college life or her new study abroad program. There is also lack of dialogue when she confronts Jeremiah about his cheating, as well as during his proposals. We just watch it all happen. And that's the point. This season, Belly is watching her own life unfold without truly being present in it. She appears like a passive participant because she's suppressing more than she's expressing. And this is reflected in the lack of narration in pivotal moments. We see a crack in this facade, however, in the Christmas flashback with Conrad in episode 2.
That's when I had this sudden thought. A part of me will always love you. Nothing happened with Conrad. Nothing was ever gonna happen.
Not only do we get a peek at Belly being honest about her true feelings here and processing them, but we see her actively suppressing them. She says it like an incantation. Nothing happened. Nothing was ever going to happen. You hear her actively trying to convince herself here that she's over Conrad. We get more narration from Belly this season about burying Conrad and releasing him than about loving Jeremiah, being heartbroken by his betrayal, or reflecting on her future. So we can presume that her silence or lack of narration in the season is not because she's at peace. It's suppression. Because when her voice does bubble up to the surface, it reveals the emotions she's suppressing. And in this scene, it's Conrad. Her narration before Jeremiah's proposal sounds like a platitude, again to convince herself and viewers that
first loves are important, but they're not as important as lasts.
By speaking more on her absence of feeling for her first love, Conrad, than her actual feelings for Jeremiah, she's telling the audience that the force to suppress those emotions is stronger than actually loving Jeremiah. Another notable plot point showcasing Belly's emotional block this season is her lack of decision-making. While Belly's narration in the first episode may come across as maturity and growth, her actions tell a different story. She seems to lack decision-making skills, often looking towards others to guide her when she's unsure about something. For her study abroad program in Paris, which is said to be a dream of hers, she needs convincing from several friends and even her boyfriend to make the decision. More significantly, when she gets back with Jeremiah after spring break, she goes to Jeremiah after Taylor's encouragement.
What's going on? Why don't you ask him?
Yeah, but he's the one.
Just talk to him when he gets back.
I really thought Taylor was right. So when we got back to school, I went to see him.
We see almost the same scene play out after Jeremiah cheats on her and Taylor advises her to get back with him if she wants to.
If you want to get back with Jeremiah, just do it.
After the engagement, Belly has slipped even further into denial about her feelings because by episode 3, we get virtually no narration. We get a comment when she's leaving her dorm room and in the car with her father, but those are more about saying goodbye and bonding with her father. It's not about the big decision she's about to make. She walks into the engagement blindly, not reflecting or questioning with the audience or herself. As we talked about earlier, this is a vital aspect of her character and narration as she is still coming of age and supposed to be finding her place in the world. The lack of narration is most significant in this episode. There is nothing when she sees Conrad again for the first time, a moment that, in the books, is filled with revealing truth. We don't hear her inner turmoil when she's discussing with Jeremiah in the car if they should reveal their news. So this is all very telling of Belly suppressing her true feelings after her engagement because, as we've seen previously, her narration flourishes when her true feelings rise to the surface. To add some nuance to Belly's narration in season 3, I want to call attention to an interesting passage in book 3 in which she admits to remembering a memory incorrectly.
What else had I remembered wrong? I was a person who loved to play remember when in my head. I'd always prided myself on how I remembered every detail. It scared me to think that my memories could be just ever so slightly wrong.
I think in this, Belly proves herself to be an unreliable narrator in the third book, and I think season 3 is showing Belly as an unreliable narrator, not because she lies, but because she starts to close off even from herself, believing and remembering things wrong. She goes along with her relationship with Jeremiah, but she doesn't narrate her true feelings like the way she once did with Conrad, so in lying to herself, she lies to the audience. So I think that Belly's narration in season 3 so far is the calm before the storm. The more she tries to write Conrad out of her story, the more his absence dominates it. Through her narration, we hear a girl trying to convince herself she has it all figured out. But the real story is in what she doesn't say, or not yet at least. Belly's narration in season 3 isn't absent by accident. It's a reflection of her emotional repression. The less she narrates, the more she avoids. And I think as the season unfolds, and especially as Conrad re-enters her life, we'll hear Belly's voice more fully again. Not just in regards to her love life, but as a girl rediscovering herself. That's all I have for today. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Belly's narration in season 3. Is it growth? Is it avoidance? Let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more analysis on the rest of the season. Thank you for watching.